This is a continuation of the story of a cat plotting to kill its owner. It's been more than a year since the previous episode, so I'm going to briefly explain how this series works. Basically, this is a collaborative project in which you submit 2 sentences in Japanese, and you will receive some feedback from me. I will pick one viewer whose submission will be included in the story. I will then add 2 or more sentences to get the story moving. Let's recap the story. 毎日決まった時間になると、私の飼い主はアルバイトに出かける。奴が家を留守にしている間に、奴を殺すための計画を練るのが私の趣味だ。飼い主の名は知らないが、奴は私をクッキーと呼び、藤沢にあるこのアパートに私を7年もの間監禁し続けてきた。薄暗いアパートの壁はじっとりした洞窟のよう。クソ人間は掃除もろくにできやしない。じめじめと身を蝕むカビのように私の憎悪は深く根ざし、じわじわと血をめがけるつらら石のように私の殺意は鋭さを増す。奴に最もふさわしいのは餓死だろう。そのために私が奴の膝の上に寝入り、そうすれば奴は可愛い猫の下敷きになって飢えるのだ。奴は食うことを何よりもたしむ貪欲な豚。食えぬことほど答える天罰はあるまい。Since the last episode, I have made a few changes. 1. 私の殺意は鋭く尖る has been changed to 鋭さを増す。The meaning of the sentence remains virtually the same, but I thought 増す, which literally means increase, would go better with the metaphor of stalactites. 2. 飢える has been changed to 飢えるのだ。The addition of noda makes it sound more like the cat is explaining its plan to the audience. 3. I have also made the arbitrary decision to assign male gender to the protagonist, Cookie the cat. And 4. I have removed the sentence, 猫に歌詞の名をつけるような間抜けだ. It was one of my sentences, and it used to be between 豚 and 食えぬ, but I felt that it didn't really belong there, and that it disrupted the flow.Now, let's look at the submission to the previous episode. A viewer named Dr. Tang submitted the following 2 sentences. そうは言っても、私みたいな華奢な猫は、到底あのブルブル肉塊を押し付けることができない。残念だけど、この企みを成し遂げるには、猫の手を借りるというやつが必要であろう。The first sentence reveals that Cookie is aware of one fatal flaw of his plan. That is,He is not physically strong enough to restrain the human. The second sentence nicely foreshadows the introduction of at least one feline conspirator, and makes a playful reference to the proverb 猫の手も借りたい, which I will explain in a minute. I have made the following changes to these sentences. とはいえ、私のような華奢な猫には到底あのプルプルした肉塊を押さえつけることはできない。残念だが、猫の手でも借りなければ、この企みを成し遂げることはできないだろう。In the first sentence, the connecting phrase, そうは言っても, is a great way to show Cookie's ability to gauge the feasibility of his plan. However, I changed it to とはいえ because it sounds more formal and better suits the serious tone of Cookie's internal monologue. For the same reason, I changed the phrase みたいな to のような. The word Kisha is a great word that implies that Cookie believes his physique to be gracefully slender. The phrase 到底何々できない means that you cannot possibly do something. The onomatopoeic phrase プルプル imitates the sound that a jelly-like object makes when it shakes, which builds on my pig metaphor and further illustrates the owner's obesity. Dr. Tang originally used a different onomatopoeic phrase, ブルブル, but ブルブル usually expresses vibration. For example, 寒さで体がブルブル震えた. I also added した after プルプル, as in プルプルした, so that it becomes clear that the phrase プルプルした modifies the following noun, 肉塊, a chunk of meat. By describing the owner merely as a chunk of meat, Cookie's disdain for the owner is emphasized.In addition, I replaced the verb phrase 押し付ける with 押さえつける. The original verb phrase 押し付ける can mean to press an object against another object with force, but it can also mean to force something upon someone when talking about a cumbersome job or responsibility. 押さえつける, on the other hand, can only mean to press something or to hold something down. In the second sentence, the phrase 猫の手を借りる comes from the proverb 猫の手も借りたい. It literally means, I wish I could borrow even the hands of a cat, but it usually expresses the idea that you are so desperate for help that you would accept anyone's offer to help you, no matter how useless they may be. However, in this story, Cookie likely means it literally. Also, I changed 残念だけど to 残念だが because だけど sounds a bit too casual, and I also changed the structure of the sentence a little bit, while retaining the meaning. The original sentence by Dr. Tang was in the form A するには B が必要だ. In order to do A, I need B. My sentence, on the other hand, is in the form B がなければ A することはできない. Without B, I cannot do A. There's no non-arbitrary reason for this latter change, except for the fact that it sounds more natural to me. Thank you for your excellent submission, Dr. Tang, and I apologize for not making this episode much sooner. Finally, here are the additional sentences I wrote. だが、この声だめに永年幽閉されてきた私に外界との接点はなきに等しい。たった一匹の同胞を除いては。生き別れた実の姉である何々は時折奴に婚姻されてくる。慈悲深い何々ならば、アテへの不憫な境遇に心痛し、必ずや私の報復に共謀してくれるに違いない。The first sentence reiterates the fact that Cookie hasn't left the apartment in 7 years and that he doesn't get to socialize with other cats. The noun 声だめ literally means cesspit or cesspool, which is a place for storing manure. This is a metaphor for the filthy apartment. The verb phrase 幽閉する means to confine someone in a place. The phrase なきに等しい literally means equal to non-existence. So this expresses the idea that something barely exists. The second sentence reveals that there is an exception to the previous statement. That is, there is one connection to the outside world. The adverb たった means only or just, and it modifies the numeral 一匹 one. The counter 匹 is used when counting the number of animals like dogs and cats, as in 一匹、二匹、三匹、四匹, and so on. The noun 同胞 means a biological sibling, but it can also mean a compatriot, or someone who comes from the same country. In my sentence, this word refers to the biological sister of Cookie. The phrase 何々を除いて means except for. This second sentence is actually an incomplete sentence grammatically because it lacks a predicate. So this sentence can be considered to be an example of an ellipsis, or 省略法 in Japanese. The missing predicate would probably be something like いない do not exist, as in たった一匹の同胞を除いてはいない. The third sentence reveals that Cookie has a biological sister who got separated at birth and that Cookie's owner sometimes brings her to his apartment. The verb phrase 生き別れる means to be separated at birth. This is conjugated to 生き別れた so that it can modify the following noun 実の姉. The verb phrase 婚姻する means either to detain, to arrest, or to capture and bring someone to another location by force. The name of the sister is left blank on purpose. In the comment section, please let me know what the sister should be called. The final sentence expresses Cookie's hope that his sister will be his accomplice. The adjective 慈悲深い merciful. The noun あて is a very obscure noun that means something like beloved brother. The adjective 不憫な means poor or pitiful. The verb phrase 心痛する means to feel sorry or to sympathize. The adverb 必ずや means definitely or for sure. It is usually followed by a phrase that indicates hope, confidence, inference, or guess. In the case of my sentence, 必ずや is followed by the phrase 何々に違いない, which means it must be the case that. Now, it's your turn. Please come up with the next 2 sentences of this story and submit them in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to suggest the name of Cookie's sister.